Right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. I'm here together with Rafael Foerg, and we are going to discuss, of course, AI. It's the summer of AI, I suppose. And specifically, we're going to discuss the onboarding of product data with artificial intelligence through the One.dot platform. But before we go to that and give the floor to Rafael, just a quick introduction of myself. I'm Stephan Spijkers. I'm the co-founder of PIMvendors.com, and we help you with any product data challenges. We do webinars like this one. We offer a knowledge base full of articles. We have a list of tools that can help you find the right product information solution, or you can just take a look at the website and see all the different PIM solutions. It's about 250 of them, all for yourself. If you want to get in touch with me, you'll probably be able to find me on LinkedIn. So just send me a quick personal message, or you can also just reach out on the website and book a meeting there. Now, for today, we're going to dive deep into One.dot. If you have any questions during this session, either for me or for Rafael or during the demo, you can drop those questions right into the chat on your right-hand side. We'll try to weave those questions into the conversation. I'll make sure to reply to those during the session. But if we are unable to get back to you during the session, we'll pick that up right after. If you're maybe a bit scared of asking that question in a public setting, you can also reach out to me or to Rafael, and I'll share his calendar link, his HubSpot link with you afterwards as well. And you can pick that up in a conversation that is maybe a bit more private. But please do give us all your questions and comments on the right-hand side. Now, another housekeeping thing, final bit, is that this session is being recorded. So if you are joining us late, then you won't hear this. But if you're leaving us early, no worries there, because we will be recording this session and sharing it with you afterwards. So don't worry if you missed the last 10 minutes. You can always review those tomorrow or later next week. Now, having said all that, I think I covered all the boring stuff. Let's get to, well, the topic that you've all come for. Rafael, please take us away with the product data onboarding with AI.
Thank you so much, Stefan, and also welcome from my side. I'm really excited to be here together with you to talk about the topic DIY product data onboarding. And yeah, we happy because we especially know how much retailers struggling nowadays, and also supplier, to onboard and sourcing data. And we know that they're looking for a solution that really help them to finally onboard product in the one hand faster, easier, and in a better data quality and fully automated. And that's why it's very, very important for us to give you today the opportunity and to get that you have the opportunity to get to know our solution and see how other European big retailer use already successful our platform and reduce manual effort and time to market and increase conversion rate of their product data. For those maybe who don't know me, I'm Rafael. I'm a digitalization expert from One.dot, from part of PMX Mice Group from Switzerland. And my mission is, together with Stefan, to help retailers and suppliers their onboarding process to get faster, easier, automated onboarding and to increase their process. And by the way, you also the first ones who see today our new branding. So also very excited about that. As Stefan also mentioned before, a quick recommendation. If you have any question, just please feel free to ask us that in the chat, or in the end, we make anyway a Q&A session or set up a call with me or Stefan afterwards. The goal for today is that you walk away with maximum value and new insights regarding product data onboarding. And I will take you a journey and show you how retailers have transformed their fully manual onboarding process to successful scalable digitalization project. And this is also the 3 topics you can expect today. So firstly, we will talk about the challenging and the business goals for merchants in the market. And secondly, I will give you a live demo. So I will show you how retailer use successfully already our platform today. And thirdly, we have a special gift for you. So stay curious until the end. Stefan, would you share the next slide, please, with me?
Yes. Here you go.
All right. So, I mean, we well aware of the challenging and retailer facing regarding the process, and would like to take a closer look and share with you those challenges. So from thousands of meetings and calls with different retailer and suppliers in different segments, we got a pretty good understanding of the challenging and business goals retailer have now those days, and this I want to share with you. So if we look about the situation, you have a retailer that have a PIM or an ERP and a web shop with a few thousand or few 100,000 SKUs, and on the other hand, a team of 5 or 10 people, they need then to onboard manual different kind of unstructured data from a few hundred suppliers, right? What does this cost? So why they need a platform like the One.dot? Well, the situation is missing incomplete poor product data quality, right? Leads to low conversion rate in the sales channels. So very often there are missing data because of the email ping pong between supplier and retailer, right? Poor product data quality obviously leads to wrong or to low conversion because the customer cannot decide for the right product because of missing product information. So he goes maybe to the competitor. High manual effort for data collection obviously leads to overload, frustrate the team, lack of resources, right? The team cannot really focus on project and tasks that are really important, but need to really fill in manual product information and enrich the data. Then what we have, time consuming and inefficient, right? I mean, that leads to high onboarding process costs and bad supply experience. I mean, obviously sometimes they can just not simply cover the work, and they need to hire more employees, right? And this costs to more onboarding costs. So you need to hire more people in order to stay competitive in the market. Time consuming and inefficient email ping pong with suppliers, high onboarding process costs. As I said, email ping pong with supplier. Mainly the retailer has a template, send it to the supplier and expect the supplier to fill in 200 or 100 points that needs to be filled in, and the retailer needs to wait until the supplier sends the information in a correct and complete way, which is very often not the case. So the retailer needs to fill in, adjust the data, send the template back, and of course the whole process takes too long. Slow supplier onboarding process and too complex, as I mentioned, slow time to market, inefficient business, no product range scaling. So you have a team, you have the goal to onboard more product information, but you simply are not able to do it because you don't have, in the one hand, the personal capacity, and the other hand, you need to have the supplier that works with you and he doesn't play with you. So then you cannot really expand your product range. Now let's have a closer look to the goals. Of course, therefore, they are looking for a solution that onboard and update in the same way product data faster and more easily, increase the revenue through improved data quality and higher conversion rates, better data quality, right? Relieve the team by using AI and simplifying the process. So a system that really helps to get better product information, different kind of sources, help the team reduce the onboarding cost and the process cost, and increase the data quality tremendously. Reduce process and onboarding cost, as I mentioned, shorten time to market, and eliminate inefficient email ping pongs with supplier. Accelerate go-to-market execution and drastically reduce manual work for the team. This is my favorite part of the presentation. Why? Because you see here the possibilities you could have today, and we have it split in 5 different options, right? Because at the end, you need data to onboard. Without data, you cannot onboard product information. So data is crucial. But if we have a look on a retailer that has 500 suppliers, there are not the perfect way for the supplier to get product information to the retailer. So that we call it, there is not the way to Rome. There are different possibilities to go to Rome. So which means we have different kind of options and different kind of use cases for the suppliers. So if you see the option number 1, catalog from the supplier, this is a raw catalog from the supplier that can be uploaded by the supplier or by the retailer directly into the One.dot platform, and we focusing on the onboarding. This is maximal the maximum of benefit for both parties. Then that's the option number 2 is the catalog from the data platform. So obviously a lot of retailers have also data lakes. So here we can connect to the data lake and get the information and process. Here also we would calculate the benefit of high. So the online form, obviously, instead of have a manual template, send this template by mail to the supplier, you have the option here to set up the template online, and the supplier can fill in the necessary information in the platform digital. This is a easier way for the supplier, and remember, when it's easier for the supplier, then it's in the same way easier for the retailer. Here also can be make some validation. Number 4 is not really an higher benefit, but I want to mention it anyway because some retailer want to have the process still going in this matters where it goes. So it's just we set up the whole template in the One.dot platform. The step number 5 is content mining. So basically what we are doing when the supplier don't send any kind of information or don't want to send any kind of information, what we do then. So basically here we scrape the data from the platform, for example, the websites directly from the suppliers or other kind of source to get the newest catalog in the better version, a better data quality or extra information that can be necessary for the retailer for the product onboarding. So different kind of steps. So let's have quickly a look of the whole kind of target picture of the One.dot, where I will show you in the next slide.
Maybe a question from the audience as well
Sure.
already, Rafael, which is maybe on this slide, maybe on the other one, but it is regarding the applicability of using One.dot not as an e-commerce retailer or wholesaler, but as a company that delivers and designs and develops and basically then sells its own product. So a more manufacturer approach. How would One.dot be applicable in those situations?
So the One.dot can be used for sourcing of product information, onboarding for retailer, and I think this is the use case what you meant now with syndicate product information to the distribution channel, right? So it would be the opposite around. And maybe I will, in this slide, I will answer this question for a better understanding. So if we see this target picture, there are 2 elements that are relevant in order to have a high accuracy and precision and recall, high quality, and I would say, to reduce the manual effort by 70, 80, or even 90%. How does it work? There are 2 elements. Number 1 is we need a data structure where the data needs to be onboard prepared. That can be ERP, PIM, or DAM, or directly into the web shop. We need to know the data structure. When we have the data structure, we can set up the data model in the One.dot platform in the middle here, right? And therefore it's crucial we need to have this calling learning data, because our own AI, and this is one aspect where we differentiate ourselves from our competitor, we have machine learning, and our machine learning will be pre-trained directly to the product data model. Besides that, our AI is already trained with 1 billion product information in order to have a high precision and recall. So we need a product data model to set up the structure and then the product data export. The product data export is important for 2 elements. First, we need to understand what products are already in the product tree and which not, and which the retailer wants to new onboard or which not, and how the product information today look like in the PIM on the web shop, so that new product information can be assigned in the correct way, like it should be. One element on the right. On the left, this is the more crucial and the more challenging aspect, is the supplier data, right? So first of all, the catalog can be uploaded in different kind of formats from the supplier or from the retailer, or the data can be validated in the One.dot platform from the supplier or from the retailer, or it can be, like as I mentioned before, scraped or sourced the data over the platform. So that would be then the part of the One.dot. So once we have the data, we can focus on the onboarding process, so that you basically can really upload thousands of files in different formats, unstructured, can release pressure on your team, can onboarding and can save onboarding and process costs 6 to 7 to 8 figure. This is something we can calculate and individually. But as I said, it's crucial to have the setup of the data model. Is there any kind of question regarding this topic from someone, maybe?
Make a quick check. If there is, I'll invite everyone to just drop those in the comments. But it's basically what you're saying. Everything that is true for onboarding is also true for syndication. It's basically the same funnel, but the other way around.
Exactly. So in the syndication case, the supplier or the manufacturer would upload his catalog unstructured in the One.dot platform, and he will tell us, or he should tell us then, where the product information has to be prepared and onboarded. That can be marketplace, that can be distribution channel, that could be his customer, right? This is something the supplier tells us. The opposite around, you can say it, basically. But it's possible.
Yeah, so question here from Brian again, Rafael, is how does One.dot handle the data model variations from ERP, PIM, and DAM when loading into the learning data? So here in the bottom right, you see learning data, the product data model, and product data export. How does One.dot handle the data model variations from the different systems, so ERP, PIM, and DAM?
No, we adapt totally on the PIM system. So we map basically the data structure in the One.dot platform, that we have a twin, you can call it, right? So a twin of your ERP or your PIM or your DAM, and everything what you change or adjust in your PIM, then that will be also synchronized with the One.dot. So everything will be done real life change. The differentiation is maybe that you also can use that the One.dot as a front end, like before the PIM basically, and use it already to maybe adjust new categories for using for supplier storage. So you can use the One.dot platform also with more or less similar functionalities like a PIM.
If Brian has any other questions, please let us know. And if you have any questions, just drop them there as well. I think we can continue for now.
Yes, I think now is a good time to jump into the demo and go a little bit from theory into practical. So we have prepared the demo for you. All right, so now we basically in the user interface on the One.dot platform, right? This is a live demo account, so we can adjust things here. It's basically the new cockpit. So the first thing what a retailer sees or a supplier, the active onboardings with the different kind of suppliers, right? So for example, Bosch, we have Hansgrohe, we have Milwaukee, we have different kind of catalogs and different kind of size of catalogs. And you see here in percent where the onboarding stage is currently and how many products are onboarded or updated. The next thing what you can do is you have like two ways to start immediately in onboarding, right? So basically by choosing a file. This is something you can then immediately upload in a CSV or in a different other BME cut or an Excel file, and it will be popped then up and will show then that in the progress side. Or you can browse. So basically if you have your supplier already in the platform, right, then we have their different kind of suppliers and we can choose then the different kind of supplier. Maybe you have already onboarded Bosch in the past and you want to upload and process a new catalog, then you choose the desired catalog. Here down, this is like your inbox, you can say. Basically, when you want to know when an onboarding has started or is finished, or do you want to give feedback to a user in the group or to the supplier, or the supplier hasn't made a comment to an onboarding step or whatsoever. This is something you can see here. But let's go now to the progress side. So here you basically, here the magic happens, right? So here you see all active onboardings in detail, right? Each row is a supplier, and the supplier sees obviously only his view, but not all the view with all the other suppliers. And here you can see the different kind of modules we have implemented. In total, we have 12 modules, right? And when the catalog will be read in unstructured, let's say in this case in CSV, 288 rows, each row is a product, right? And we read the product and we see what has the supplier already delivered and what not, maybe duplicates. And then we go into the next step, matching. Do we have matches, right? Like for example, new products need to be onboarded or updated. This is a rule-based step set by the retailer. And then the products are categorized, extract, mapped, normalized, assets are prepared on board, and the results file is created. I check this out. It's a little bit, no, let's see this one exactly. This is the prepared product information in the desired format and structure from the PIM, with the picture even. This process is fully automatically. So if a catalog comes in, he will be prepared and onboard and enriched in approximately 30 to 40 minutes. Then the catalog can be imported directly in the PIM system, or if the user wants, he can give feedback by the modules of categorization, extraction, mapping, and normalization. So now you see also different kind of colors. What does it mean? What is the differentiation? Basically, if a circle is blue, that means it's complete, it's finished. If it's with a white inside, that means it's in process. The same with brown or red, depends of what kind of user. So if I go now, let's go here and check Hans Krohe. This is now a Hans Krohe catalog where the user can give feedback, but he doesn't have to. So if I click now, you can see here our AI has assigned the products from the supplier, which is blue, right, to the right category from the retailer. So here we see the confidence level is very high. It's written sehr hoch in German. Sorry about that, but it means in English very high. So here already the user can see, okay, does it make sense to give feedback or not? Or do I need to give feedback? Those questions the user can ask, but at the end, we recommend to give, at least by the first onboarding with the supplier, feedback. Why? Because you train also the AI when everything was correct, that in the next onboarding with the same supplier, the AI can adjust. So if the user wants now to give feedback, you see here now 17 rows instead of 455. Why? Because if products are the same, they will assign together here. That makes it more easily for the user. So if I go now and click on the products, you see this is basically what I have to do in order to tell the AI that it was correct assigned. So if I want now, for example, this kind of product assigned in a different kind of category, I can do that. If I go now here and click, basically I can choose a different kind of category if I want to. Or I can create a new category that hasn't existed and it will be then onboarded to the new category. If I want to assign this task to a supplier, because the supplier knows the data sometimes, not always also better than the retailer, we can assign it. So if I go now and make, for example, I give now here the discharge and go now to reassign and say, okay, please supplier, as an example, make the task, then you can see it's pending and then it's red, and then you can wait until the supplier has given the feedback if you, as I said, want to, but you don't have to. Is there any question or does it make sense so far?
We do have some questions, Rafael, but more on the, I would say, the publication part, specifically the how do you deliver the data then to the PIM, right? So you do the full onboarding, but it then gets to how do you deliver data to the PIM, which is, do you do that through an FTP a drop-off of a file? Is it an API? How does that work? How does the connection to the PIM work?
So either exactly by a file, by API, SFTP, or by using the One.dot app.
Cool.
This is just
Yeah, and then
different.
there's a question from Brian about is One.dot also a marketplace e-commerce system? And I gave him a lengthy answer in the chat. I hope that that works for him. Where and maybe you can correct me as well, Rafael, but I basically mentioned to him that One.dot could be part of a marketplace. Like you need product data from various suppliers to sell. So that part can be managed by One.dot. But you also need to handle the transactions. You need to have an e-commerce engine. You need to also give the orders back to the suppliers. I don't think that that is a part that One.dot can fully cover, but maybe you can help as well.
No, this is absolutely correctly. We not a typical, like we're not an order platform, right? So those things you cannot do with the One.dot platform. It's really for sourcing different kind of data over the platform and for onboarding and syndicate the product information to different kind of targets. Yes, the process that the team needs to do today manual.
I'm glad that I didn't make any mistakes there. Okay. If there's any other questions at this point, if you do have them, just drop them here. So Brian says, One.dot is a pre-processing processing facility to stage ready data to go into PIM. So for example, if you're a retailer working with wholesale suppliers, I would actually say it is both. So it's, as a wholesaler, you could use this to build your catalog. As a retailer, you could use this to build your catalog. You can actually skip a PIM with One.dot. I think maybe you can say something about that, Rafael.
It's a big word to skip, right? So I would say, of course, we have to identify what are the functionalities of the PIM today, because different, more or less, all PIMs make more or less the same functionalities, but we have to understand what kind of functionalities are the PIM are covered, and then we can see the differentiation with the One.dot. But more or less, this what you can do with a PIM, you can do also with the One.dot. So yes, when you have the One.dot platform, when you want to use the One.dot as a data model on top of it to your PIM, then we of course can create our own data structure, our own data model in a better data quality, better structured in the One.dot platform, right? So that we can in the end skip the PIM and onboard the product information directly into the web shop. Because what we realized with a lot of retailers is, remember, the precision and recall is important, and I mean, it measures the quality, right? So in order to have a high precision and recall, it's important to have a good data structure and good data model. So if the data model is in an inefficiency data quality and structure, then it makes sense to use the One.dot as a new, to create with One.dot a new data model in order to have a better structure and better model with correct information in order to have a high precision and recall. Therefore, I would recommend to maybe set to get the data model from the web shop, because in the web shop, sometimes the data structure is a little bit better than in the PIM. But that's our things we have to take in consideration, but necessarily.
I think what you say is correct, right? So it depends, right, on the feature set that you need. I think especially for companies that do not do a lot, or parts of your catalog where you do not do a lot of enrichment yourself, you can skip the PIM and put it directly into your e-commerce system. The PIM is a great single source of truth and data repository plus enrichment, and you can manage all the different processes and workflows there. That is still very much an important part of your product data ecosystem. But in certain use cases, especially maybe in the case of a wholesaler who doesn't do a lot of enrichment, for example, you can just take all that data from your suppliers, efficiently onboard it through One.dot, and then map all that product data that you get, maybe combine that from different sources, like you take existing public data pools, map that all in the One.dot platform, and then syndicate it through the One.dot platform to all your downstream channels without doing a lot of enrichment with your own unique content, right? Because that's not something you do maybe as a wholesaler. Then it works, right? In those situations, it works. Maybe but then again, it depends on the different requirements, and also maybe in smaller IT architectures where you don't have the budget for a fully fledged PIM, but you can just do the enrichment in your e-commerce system, like Rafael already mentioned. Then it makes sense to just hook up One.dot to create a very, very, very efficient onboarding portal, onboarding flow, and still do any manual enrichment that you need to do in the e-commerce system directly. We're called PIM vendors, but we're not selling you a PIM right now. Now, one question from Brian is, what PIM systems does One.dot already interface to?
Basically, all current systems in the market that are available. So, for example, it's PIM Stibo, it's PIM Informatica, it's Syndigo, it's Akenio. Yeah, there are plenty. I mean, there's, I think, no PIM we haven't worked with. So we always, as I mentioned earlier, we set up always customized specific the data model and the structure from the retailer. That is mostly the PIM, because it's the leading system and feeds the web shop, right? But many times also the ERP system, so it depends. And as you can see here, for example, with Milwaukee, right? So there is a possibility to have a stream with different kind of product information. One stream of product information should go to the PIM, and the next stream should go to the ERP system, and the next stream is assets onboarding should go to the DAM, or the next stream pipeline is price mapping, right? That is also very often still manual. So this is all possible. So the target picture defines the retailer.
Yeah.
I think what really most to give you a bigger picture of how really a retailer use today our platform is really to have this overload of product information covered, right? So that they have really a strong AI with machine learning, not only rule-based, because with rule-based, you just simply cannot fix the onboarding issue, right? Because there is no intelligence behind, it's just a rule, a machine that says, okay, I do that from that, or from here to here. But you need to have an intelligence because each data structure looks differently, right? So if you go to retailer A and retailer B in their web shop, the product information sometimes looks totally different, right? So that is important, right? To get a high data quality. And therefore, obviously, I think besides onboarding, which is really important, is the data sourcing the crucial one, as I mentioned before, because without data we cannot source. So that's why it's really important to make the life from the supplier easily, to give him different kind of opportunities. And the best would be to say to him, hey, dear supplier, send all your unstructured data on the One.dot platform. We consolidate the data, clean the data, and map the data on the desired structure and desired format for the retailer, instead of using templates or email ping pong, or try to do it with manual effort with 10, 20 team members, right? And it takes forever to categorize the data, mistakes, right? And there is no intelligence. So if a new catalog update comes, the team needs again to opt to manual onboard. And this is how retailer can use really high onboarding process costs and reduce time to market. You can quick onboard and update product information immediately. This is the benefit.
Then we have one more question, which is regarding it's from Paul Collins. So the question is, can One.dot deliver to marketplaces like Amazon and identify the additional attribution needed for the marketplace category requirements? So for people that are not in the know, Amazon has various different categories, of course, and then for Milwaukee power tools, you need to have the speed of the drill, the RPM, or the type of the battery that is connected, where you need to have that in your product description. But then if you're selling clothing, you need to have a total different category. Now, you might have that attribute RPM available, but maybe it's in your product description. It's not a separate attribute. Can you, with One.dot, identify that Amazon attribute model and then populate that missing attribute?
Yes, you can do that. At the end, for us, it's crucial to know the target system. Is the target system an ETIM standard module, or an E-class, or an TechDoc, or the PIM data model, or it's for the syndication, the marketplaces, right? We need to know the target structure. As long as we know the target structure, our AI knows how the data needs to be filled in.
That was a very long question and a very short answer, Rafael. Thanks. Yes, that's good. But doesn't maybe follow on is then you need to pre-design that attribute model, or do you get the feedback from Amazon and then just say like, hey, Amazon requires RPM separately, you need to fill this in?
So mainly we set up the target system, for example, from a marketplace like Amazon in the One.dot platform, and then we have the unstructured data, and we map then the data to the target system in the One.dot platform. So how the target system looks like, this is for us not, I mean, this is not our business. So basically the retailer tells us how the structure should looks like and what he wants to adjust. I mean, we are a software company. We always want to increase our speed, and want to to create new features, right? So therefore,
Yeah.
obviously, we just also try to customize the platform more or less for each customer, because each customer have different requirements. So we just try to really give the highest value and to the customer that it really has an impact in the daily life of the business.
Makes sense. You focus and on the core to maintain speed and get the best features in for the most customers. You do not manage the local attribute model of a small local marketplace. Like that's something done by the customer or by a consultant, maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that were the questions at least for now. So if anyone has any more questions, please drop them here.
Yeah, I think we already by a Q&A session, more or less, right? Because we have given the demo. So if anyone has more question regarding how retailer use our platform or how you can use it or how testing would look like, just feel free to ask.
Yeah. And if you don't want to do that publicly, I'll share I'll share Rafael's HubSpot link with you so you can do that. Maybe privately. So maybe I have a question, Rafael. We mentioned already the different scenarios and the different stages, right? I think what I think is interesting is that for many PIM solutions, like onboarding is just one step, right? And usually it just comes down to mapping, right? You get attributes A, B, and C from your supplier, and then you map them to your own internal data model where it is 1, 2, 3. And that is one part, but you break it up in 8 steps. And I think that is sort of reflective more of the real world where you do not get clean data, you do not get clean structured data in your own structure, or you need to do some transformation, or people call this cleansing, which is sort of a term that you hear a lot of as well. Like it's cleansing the data, but actually that is 4 steps, and we all call that cleansing. How do you see this with your customers as well, where they come in with like, oh, this is easy, we just do it in one go, but actually it's 8 small steps.
Yeah, I mean, like in total we have 12 modules, and the modules are so configured that we start with reading the data, because first we need to transform the product information in a One.dot structure that we can work with it, because sometimes the data are really in a catastrophic quality and in a difficult format. So we need first to transform internally the format from the suppliers or from the different sources, and then we transform it into the target system. And we have seen that the categorization step is one of the most crucial steps, because he influenced all other steps right behind, like attribute mapping, like normalization, like extraction, golden record, variance, right? So that's why it's important from the beginning to categorize the product in the right category. And then we follow a certain step, like I said, with extraction the data, normalize the value, the numbers, centimeter, millimeter, so everything, the whole structure, right? And I mean, it depends of how much manual effort it is and which steps are really important for the retailer, but more or less are the categorization, attribute mapping, extraction, golden record, variance. That's are the crucial steps for the retailer in order to have all data enriched in the right structure and quality in the data model, right?
Yeah, makes sense. I have a question for you, Rafael, which is, can you share something about the workflows within One.dot? So when it comes to managing and approving different data in different steps, so the workflows.
So basically, what we have seen in a demo, right? So basically, when you from the workflow, it gives like 2 major aspects for a user who wants to work today with the One.dot platform. And number 1 is he, as I shared before in a demo, he uploads his catalog, which he wants to be prepared and onboard. And number 2, he goes into the module of categorization, attribute mapping, or normalization, or extractions. That are 4 main steps from 12 steps where you can give feedback, because all other steps are rule-based. There's nothing to do. And then you give feedback. So basically, after each step, you have the opportunity to give feedback, or you just view the data and the result file, as I showed before, and then you can let the data in. So this is the workflow, I would say. The workflow can be a little bit more intensive, of course, if you have a lot of suppliers ongoing and you want to mirror the onboarding. So that is just like I would say you monitor the onboarding, because the AI makes the whole job for you. So you just really maybe adjust a little bit of the data. The onboarding process will be then reprocessed with your given feedback in a few minutes, and then you can review again and we can export the data into your PIM immediately. This is the workflow, I would say. Workflow can also be done with your supplier. If you say, hey, I have some supplier, they should make the validation. This is then the decision of the retailer. Then you can communicate with the retailer always in the group with the users. And that's it. It's not made that's very complicated and overloaded and that you need to work hours with it. No, it's a really monitoring platform where the AI helps you to support you and where you can really relieve the manual effort to the AI.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe one more question, Rafael, for me is why do you think that different PIM vendors don't build this internally? So PIM is about the onboarding of product data. That's what you guys are doing, the enrichment of product data, and then the syndication, the publication of product data. Why do they neglect this onboarding part?
Many retailer come with this consideration that they say, hey, we want to try to build something by our own. The experience has shown in the past from big retailers who thought they can build something quick that it costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of time. It's very time consuming and they need to have the knowledge. So we are now 10 years in the AI experience and we are since 2015 in the market. So we were at the very beginning there. So we know exactly what is needed, especially in the product data onboarding, what kind of AI needs to be used and how you can use the AI in order to have a high precision and recall. This is just something I would not recommend to do because also the past has shown a lot of retailer after 1 or 2 years came to us and said it hasn't worked out. Now we still have the onboarding problem. We used a lot of money, a lot of time, personal resources, and we couldn't focus on other projects. Now we still have the issue. Then I said we talked 2 years ago. Now they switched to the One.dot. So that's why I would say if you want to try it as a retailer, try it out. If you think, check out how far you come. But in reality, it really takes a long time. So why not using, I would say, the right solution right away that knows how it works, right? But anyway, this is also something we don't want to keep you in a black box. So we have the opportunity to have an easy test where you can really measure the speed and the quality and the onboarding process of our platform in order to make a right, clear statement if this platform fits to your company. And then, of course, we can make a calculation where we can calculate in a business case in our calculator how much process and onboarding cost could be saved per year. In the first year, we say by using the One.dot platform, you can reduce the manual effort 70 to 80%. In the second year, up to 95%. And this is what the calculation is doing. Also the time to market reducing and the speed and the increase of conversion rate by better data quality. This is all measurable in the testing. And this is also what I think I forgot at the beginning, Stephan. We have a gift for you prepared. So we have actually today we have basically the gift for you that we want to give you the opportunity to test our platform completely for free of charge. Normally it costs 4K, but we said, okay, we want to give it today in the webinar to those who join for free because we know our platform works. And for us, it's not crucial or necessary to earn our money with it in the testing. We want that the retailer sees that it works. And then if he says, hey, the platform really is a huge benefit, then we do business together afterwards. So Stephan, if you could share the link, then I would kindly ask you if you want to create a user directly under this link and we will connect with you over our platform and then you have the opportunity to upload a catalog, but we will guide you to the steps. So don't worry, for now you have to do nothing. Just click on the link and create a user. And then we prepare and onboard a product catalog unstructured in the desired target system. So use the opportunity because as I said, normally it's 4K. So we really want to give you here the opportunity and then you see it by yourself and let the magic happen.
I just shared the link to your calendar, your HubSpot link, Rafael.
Yes. Thank you.
I also have the link for the creation of an account on the One.dot platform. I have a question from Paul, which is, do you help with the supplier adoption of the platform? And do you have any of the main DIY brands already using the platform?
Sure. Yes, we work with one of the biggest retailers in Europe. They're using already our platform, so definitely by helping the supplier to use our platform, I can understand it's a new software. You maybe think it's complex. We need to have a lot of teaching, but we call a person who is doing today manual product onboarding. We call this person, sorry, by using One.dot a power user. So we will teach the person how to work with our platform. It's not complicated. It's very easy, I would say. It's fast implemented. So it shouldn't be really a big deal to really teach your suppliers, because it's, as I said, an uncomplicated way for both parties. But of course, in the kickoff meeting, we go through the process and show the user interface and explain everything in detail, how it works. That's for sure. If you want, exactly here, my calendar link, you can book an appointment directly with me. If you want to really calculate your individual digitalization and saving potential from your company, book a call and I will discuss with you some questions, and then I can calculate it in our calculator, and I can give you straight feedback and analyze the potential of each of your company. So feel free to book a meeting or connect with me on LinkedIn. We will have in the future anyway more sessions regarding product data onboarding, maybe more specific ones and different kind of topics, like for example AI, machine learning, sourcing data. So don't worry about that. We stay in touch with you. And if you want to test it, as I said, just click on the link that Stephan shared and create a user.
The link is shared, Rafael. Yeah, if people have any questions, I think they know how to reach you. We are coming up on time as well, and I think we had a good full session with both the presentation and the demo of the live tool and a great Q&A. So I think it's also a good idea to just wrap up for today. If people have questions, they at least know where to find you. They know where to find me. We will share the recap of this event with everyone so they can look back at the recording if they missed anything. I have a final page, yes, which is just the last page of this presentation. So I would say thank you to the audience for joining us today, this afternoon on this AI session. And Rafael, thank you for sharing your wisdom today and sharing a real life case and a real life demo of the One.dot platform.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your attention. Looking forward to meeting you, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
For sure. So to everyone listening in at home, thanks for joining us. We will be back with more webinars in Dutch and in English in the coming weeks. So stay tuned. This summer, we keep you updated on all things AI. See you in the next webinar. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye together.